Alright guys, what's up? ZFR back again, and that's right, we are continuing this character build series in Warframe. It's also kind of a character build slash roleplay series. So pretty much some of you guys might be wondering what happened to the name and stuff, why they changed the name. Pretty much I've decided that I want this to be more about the story than I do the actual character build. I'm still going to have the character build stuff mixed in with the story, so just listen if you're really interested in hearing that. But I think people are going to enjoy this version or this remix version of this series more than the original. So without further ado, I present to you our second candidate in this series, our second Warframe story, which is The Leshen. Now, the Leshen story actually starts out a little bit different than the tanks did in the last part to this series. The Leshen actually starts out as a colonist who has at this point not been identified, who actually survived the Grineer's initial conquer of Earth. However, the Leshen became more and more frustrated with watching his friends, family, and former neighbors die around him as the Grineer gain a tighter hold on his world. Pretty much, one day, a Tenno ship tries to enter the atmosphere, because you know the Tenno, of course, they're not just going to let the Grineer slaughter a bunch of colonists, or at least that's what we think. However, the Tenno ship gets in the orbit and it gets shot down. The Leshen goes to try and help because he believes the Tenno are the key to saving his world. He believes they are the ones that can really help them fight off the Grineer, that can really save them from this nightmare. But unfortunately, when he gets to the ship, he realizes that all the Tenno inside are dead. Inside the ship are the corpses of a Trinity, a Frost, a Ember, and a Volt Warframe. He collects all of these Warframes off of the corpses of the dead operatives, and he pretty much somehow manages to over time combine the Warframes and craft a new Warframe from their pieces. This Warframe is known as Oberon by the audience, but he quickly names the Warframe the Leshen. The name the Leshen actually does come from a story the colonists heard multiple times as a child about a beast that once ruled over every forest on planet Earth. However, it seems that the legends over-exaggerate a bit. While yes, the Leshen is definitely powerful enough to combat the Grineer and protect the remaining colonists from them, he is definitely not the most powerful Warframe in existence. Quickly, he realizes that as a result of him not having the proper tools to make the suit in the first place and pretty much throwing it together with what he had, he realizes that the suit also gives off high amounts of radiation. However, this isn't exactly a bad thing. He begins to use this radiation to harness the power of it in order to create new abilities that allow him to confuse his enemies in combat, in most cases turning them against each other for a short amount of time. And on top of this, he also uses this in combination with his trusty bow and arrow that he had crafted himself to take his enemies out from a distance, from a safe distance, since he's not the strongest out there. On top of that, he also uses his trusty blunt melee weapon to get in close and crush the enemies when the need arises. After just a few weeks of practicing with this new power of his, he actually manages to take down a Grineer stronghold on his own. In doing this, he actually disables a major part of their anti-air defense on this section of the planet. Doing that opens up a airway for the Tenno to finally land on the planet. Upon doing this, they almost instantly find him under the Lotus's command and ask him to join their forces. Now, of course, the Leshen is not so tempted by this at first. He knows that the Tenno will want him to go out into space and help them fight there instead of on Earth. And Earth is what he really cares about. He cares about protecting his people. He cares about protecting his forests. He cares about protecting his world. But he actually manages to strike a deal with the Lotus that if he goes and joins the Tenno and helps them fight on other planets, in return, the Tenno will every now and then come to Earth, check in on it, and help the colonists, essentially just stay alive. So, of course, the Leshen takes this deal knowing that the Lotus has Tenno operatives who are much more powerful than him and can probably protect his people better than him. And this is an opportunity he can't pass up. So he goes into space, and like I said before, he's not the strongest Tenno operative, but one thing is for sure, he is one of the most wise ones. He definitely has a lot of control over his power. He is very self-disciplined. Of course, teaching himself the power of a Warframe on his own is not a small task. However, he manages to rise through the ranks very quickly, but on the unfortunate side, he actually does end up getting captured by Owlet V himself. When this happens, the Leshen manages to escape his cell and find his weapons, and he actually, instead of escaping, he actually finds out that Owlet V is keeping Tenno prisoners and torturing them and pretty much ripping them apart in order to use their Warframe for his new Zanuka project. He then faces Owlet V. He faces him and he actually defeats him alone. Upon doing this, the Leshen actually manages to rescue one Tenno operative, and I'm guessing all of you can guess who that is. He rescues this operative and they actually end up becoming his apprentice. Surprisingly, he takes this operative on as an apprentice, seeing as how it was a much younger Tenno operative who probably just lost their master in this process. So, now the Leshen has become pretty much a master in the Tenno ranks. He's defeated one of the Tenno's biggest enemies. He's made a name for himself in Tenno history. He is proud. Now at this point in the story, the Leshen hadn't been home for almost a year, or maybe a little more. So at this point, he hasn't been back to good old Earth in a while. He decides, I'm going to take a trip back there. I'm going to see what's going on. I'm going to see how everyone's doing. When he gets back there, he's horrified to see that the Grineer have gained a tighter grip on the planet. Pretty much, he finds out that the Tenno have not lived up to their word. They have been using the planet for its resources. They've been mining there. They've been getting their neuroids there. They've been using it as their main source of neuroids, which is used in a lot of Tenno equipment. And at this point, he is really pissed because at the same time the Tenno were doing this, they also neglected to protect his people, and multiple of his people had been enslaved or killed by the Grineer, and he is furious. The Leshen at this point storms into the Lotus's main chambers, and he demands that she send an entire army to planet Earth to fight off the Grineer, to destroy them completely. See pretty much refuses instantly. C says that request is impossible. It is ridiculous. It cannot be done. The planet will be saved once we crush the Grineer in other sectors of the solar system. Of course, the Leshen was not hearing that. He was pissed. He was ready to go. He tried to get as many of his friends as he could to help, but sadly, none of them were willing, on the account that they were all ordered by the Lotus not to engage in this rogue mission with him. So of course the Leshen goes back alone, not more powerful than ever, even leaving his apprentice behind, keep in mind. And yes, you guessed it, we will talk about the apprentice in the future. But now more powerful than ever, the Leshen goes home and begins to fight the Grineer. He takes out multiple Grineer strongholds and he is winning with success. He clears out a whole section of Earth until he mysteriously disappears during his last battle. The Tenno, of course, go to investigate sometime later once everything dies down. Upon getting there, they find a destroyed Grineer base with everyone dead except for one last Grineer, but there is no sign of the Leshen anywhere. The last Grineer that they found, pretty much they take him in for questioning and they ask him what happened here. He tells them that the Leshen showed up at the base and destroyed everyone. He destroyed everything, everyone in sight in a raids. And he was just about to kill him when all of a sudden he stopped. The Grineer soldier looked up to see the Leshen with a red arrow piercing his side. As the Leshen's body fell to the ground right next to the Grineer soldier, the Grineer heard a voice. Justice is served. A mysterious cloud of black smoke engulfs them both, and when it disappears, so does the Leshen. His whereabouts are still unknown to this day. What do you think happened to the Leshen, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me down below in the comments. I'm sure all of you can figure it out if you play Warframe. But yeah, anyway, thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Like I said, I'm going to be doing these now. I'm going to go hard on them. I hope you guys enjoyed the new version of it where it was much more story focused. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and supporting this video. Hope you guys really enjoyed. I will see you guys on the next video. ZFR out, guys.